Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at this 286 computer that I fixed a couple of videos back, and we're going to be exploring what's on the hard drive of this 30-old-year machine and see how this machine was used back in the day. Does it contain some fancy new games we've never seen? Does it contain some exotic new software that we've never heard about? So yeah, please stay tuned for that, and we're going to be exploring what's on the hard drive. But before we do that, I just want to show you the Phoenix system configuration setup, which is very basic, allowing you to configure the disk drives, the hard drive, the memory sizes, the display settings, the CPU speed, and stuff like that. If you are entering invalid sections here in that setup utility, it will complain and asking you to go into the setup again and go and fix whatever is wrong here. In this case, it was the display settings that was wrong. Other than that, it's really basic. Luckily, I was able to find out what hard drive type this computer contained because there is no hard drive auto detection. But after that, the computer simply boots into MS-DOS, a Dutch version of MS-DOS. It also includes Stacker for optimizing or doubling the disk space. It has a Microsoft driver, and then it just launches into this MS-DOS based menu system. Now, something that I typically do on these old machines is creating a backup of the hard drive. Now, there are many ways of doing that. I typically use a parallel cable and just start up interserve on the old computer, and then I have a boot disk which contains interlink that I can boot on a more recent PC, the one on the left. And as that one is starting, as it is loading up the interlink driver, it will hook it up to the old PC, create a drive mapping, and what this allows me to do is access the C drive of the old computer on this computer using the F drive. So if I type F here, I get access to the hard drive. So that means that if you have something like Norton Commander, it makes it very easy to copy files across, as you just go to the F drive here to access the hard drive on the other computer and just copy it across. It does take a while using the parallel cable, of course, but it's a pretty non-intrusive way. The only thing you need is a parallel cable hooking up the two systems. And because these old systems typically have pretty small hard drives, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to copy everything on a relatively slow parallel cable connection. But now, back to the old computer. I really like the monitor that we have here. I like the way that these knobs are placed here, and you know how the little plastic bracket here kind of pushes in to access these knobs. Now, this does have a Mandex sticker, but I'm guessing that this is a Casper GM1230 monitor. It's a TTL monochrome display with a resolution of up to 1000 by 350. The computer here, spelled with a K, belonged to a family van de Weyer. So I'm guessing this is either a family from Belgium or Holland. The computer also came with a printer, which apparently still has some life in it. It's a Star printer, the LC20 dot matrix printer. Now, I'm not really all up to snuff on my matrix printers here. It's actually the first one that I tried to turn on. I did read online that if you press that online button here while turning it on, it does some kind of test prints, which appears to be working. At least something ends up on the paper here. I like the feel of these old printers, so might see if I can put this one into some kind of use. So yeah, as you can see here, it is actually still printing characters on the page. Might need some calibration and tuning, but yeah, really nice thing to have. But yeah, time to take a look at the first application that we can access with this menu here. And this is a drawing program called VP Graphics from 1987, published by Paperback Software International. And you know, despite the fact that this is a text-based monochrome TTL monitor, it does have some graphic capabilities, as you can see here. So this is probably some kind of Hercules compatibility mode, allowing you to draw various objects onto the screen. So yeah, here you can go crazy with all kinds of different shapes. You have boxes, rectangles, circles, you can draw polygons, you can change the lines, you can change the shades. It also allows you to enter some text. So yeah, if you want to create a funky YouTube thumbnail using a 30-year-old computer, by all means. Now, Paperback Software released a whole bunch of software, including word processors, spell checkers, spreadsheets. So from within VP Graphics, for example, it was relatively easy to, embed a spreadsheet that you could just start filling in here, which I thought was pretty cool. Paperback had this spreadsheet called VP Planner, and the kind of embedded version was included with VP Graphics here, allowing you to add your graphs to your pieces of art here. Although it looks primitive looking back at it now, I think it's pretty cool that it was possible and that there was software like this to do this kind of visual stuff on these old computers on monochrome displays. So yeah, pretty cool. But that's not the only drawing application we had on this computer, because this computer also contained Paint It, another popular painting program from DEXA International. So despite the fact that this video card or graphics card or display adapter on this old computer in theory doesn't have any graphics capabilities, thanks to Hercules mode we are able to put some graphics on here. And I think it gives it a really nice feel on this amber colored monochrome TTL display. So yeah, next up I wanted to talk a little bit about the MS-DOS based menu here, which is called Point and Shoot by Vartech Inc. Now this computer did belong to family Van de Weyer, so it belongs to me now. So I'm going to change the menu banner title here. So the point and shoot application here, the text-based menu just provides you with an easy way to launch applications from MS-DOS. Don't need to type in a whole bunch of commands using the MS-DOS command line interface. So yeah, pretty convenient. So yeah, you saw this with a lot of these older systems. It allows you to easily add, delete, or update these menu items. For example, I noticed that Norton Commander was also installed on this computer, so it's pretty easy to add a new program. And it also featured stuff like, displaying the time and the date. It had a screensaver and just, the convenience of launching applications from that menu. Another thing that was installed here was FiscoBell. Now, most of you probably don't know that, but this was a pretty popular, Belgium financial application allowing you to enter your taxes. Now, obviously, these things are, pretty local in the sense that, tax rules differ from country to country. So, back in the day, you had a lot of companies making applications like that for various countries. And it's clear that this computer was used in a business setting, because I found multiple of these, tax filing applications on here, which still had, the various files associated with them, where you could see, the company data, the revenue, the tax deductibles, and stuff like that. Again, because this was tailor-made for a particular country, in this case Belgium, it only offers a Dutch and a French version of the application, so no English here. So yeah, this is how, people and companies were preparing their tax forms back in the day using this kind of specialized software. And for those users who aren't used to working with a mouse, there is a mouse test program here allowing you to familiarize yourself with the mouse buttons and with advanced concepts like dragging and dropping elements using the mouse, other topics such as double clicking with the mouse, and setting up the overall sensitivity of the mouse. Next up, it's time for some word processing. And we didn't have WordPerfect or something like that on here, but we had TaskWord for PC on here from 1986. Now, this is the PC version of the famous Sinclair TaskWord word processing application, which was ported to MS-DOS. So yeah, not really sure how to use that. I'm going to try and hook up my printer to it, but I was unsuccessful, because there's also some issue with my spelling checker here. But yeah, pretty common obviously to have these kind of word processing applications on here on these types of computers. Next up, we have some antivirus software. Now, this computer shipped with MS-DOS 6.0, meaning that it also included Microsoft Antivirus, which was an antivirus package from the early 90s. Not exactly sure what the date was, but it had the option to not only scan your memory, but also scan your files. And in this case, I did do a virus scan here. And although it didn't find any viruses in memory, it did find some infected files on the disk. As it turns out, this computer was infected with the Yankee Doodle virus, at least some executables were. And that means that at around 5 p.m. you should hear the Yankee Doodle tune, so please stay tuned for that. And this computer had multiple protection layers because Microsoft Antivirus wasn't the only antivirus application installed on this computer. Because through Norton Commander, I also noticed that McAfee Virus Scan version 5.3 was installed from 1990. Very popular antivirus software package. Again, it scans the memory for known viruses, and then it scans the boot sector and starts scanning all of the files, where again, obviously, it is finding that Yankee Doodle virus. And at around 5 o'clock, just as I was about to browse the file system, Yankee Doodle started appearing. On to the next one. Now, the top level menu application also contained an entry for Siemens Simatic S5, which is a software tool for creating, modifying, testing, and documenting programs for Siemens PLCs, or programmable logic controllers, like the one you are seeing here. So this is more in an industrial setting where probably this computer was used to program these devices before they were put into all kinds of machineries to, actuate certain actuators or capture certain sensor information. Now, because I don't have a Siemens PLC device here, nor do I have any means of interfacing with it, this program is pretty useless, so I cannot really show you a lot about that because it does require access to the actual PLC. But yeah, pretty cool to see that this computer was used for this kind of stuff. Now, another cool application I found on this computer was Tor Base version 2.2 from 1991 from Weka Software. Now, what this allowed you to do is to enter, transistor codes, these little components that you find on PCBs. And, depending on whether or not this transistor was found in its internal database, it would pop up this little, summary of a data sheet and a diagram of the transistor, and it even allowed you to compare different transistors with one another. So yeah, this was obviously pre-internet times, but yeah, still pretty cool to see. The hard drive also contained a copy of NeoShow from OSCS Software Development. Now, this is a slideshow type application where you create fancy slideshows based on images. So the idea was that you could create slides containing images, you could create transitions, you could place various images alongside each other and then create a kind of animation, as I am doing here. And to conclude, some system utilities, benchmarks, stuff that wasn't included on the hard drive, but because we've got the parallel connection going on, I was able to transfer software more easily. So Checkit 3.0 identifies the machines as a 286, 1 megabyte hard drive, MDA graphics, 2 parallel ports. It also contains this kind of benchmarking application. So we see that the 286 is running at 12 megahertz. Unfortunately, this doesn't show you the impact of the turbo button in real time, but Norton System Info does that. So here you can see Norton System Information. It does include a benchmark utility, and as you hit the turbo button, you can see that the CPU speed is reduced, so going from 12 megahertz to 6 megahertz. So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy I was able to revive this machine and provide you this little overview of what was on the hard drive. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I will definitely see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.